Well, for many it would not be an aha because they do it virtually every day. But what we want to do is with all Canadians who are in the custom of giving, volunteering their time, to capture that moment and say, this was special for me and the person who received the gift, and then say, I'm going to dare one of my friends, colleagues, peers, etc., to do the same, so that that person has the same satisfaction of helping another. And of course, we hope that this will ripple right across the country. Well, I think one looks for a wide spectrum of rationale and encouragement for giving. I think with respect to the Ice Bucket Challenge, it is a dare, it's something different, it's something edgy, and it permits one to encourage someone else to duplicate, and that's always attractive. And our idea was to try to ensure that giving of time, talent, or treasure, old or young, rich or poor, became part of the culture of Canadians, became part of our DNA. I think it's already there, but it's to emphasize it, to reinforce it, to extend it. Oh, I think motivation matters enormously, and I think it also varies enormously. The wonderful book, The Magnificent Obsession, written, 50, 60 years ago, was about that. The magnificence was someone giving in an extraordinary, generous way. The obsession was that it had to be done totally and honestly and privately. And that's fine. If that's a person's disposition to give quietly, we laud and applaud that. I think we want to use all of the opportunities we have to help people to understand that there is a joy in giving, that in a sense is very personal, but it's also very uplifting for the community, and to extend that sense of satisfaction, participation, help to others as a way of building healthy communities. Partly indifference and partly complacency, I think, would be negative factors, that we are a lucky people in this great country of ours. I often say Canada is a solution in search of a problem. When you look at countries around the world, are there any countries that enjoy the healthiness of our communities, the equality of opportunity? If there are, they're rare. And we can take that for granted. I often say the veneer of civilization is very thin, that you have to constantly reinforce it, polish it, avoid corrosion, avoid attacks on it. Hugh McLennan, in his last book, great book, Voices in Time, when he was writing about the end of civilization, we'd known that a great calamity had occurred. Reflecting on how you rebuild civilization, one of his heroes in the book said, civilization is like a garden that is cultivated on the edge of a jungle. And if you don't cultivate it constantly, the jungle creeps in and takes over. I think that's true of the civilized life we lead, and I think our greatest enemy is taking that for granted and failing to recognize that we should work every day at building it up, at thickening it out, of keeping the garden away, and be always conscious of those people in our civilization, in our society, who have not perhaps had the same good fortune that we have had, and extend a hand to them to help them up. With respect to the Montreal experience, I had one of those aha moments or wow moments, but in a negative sense. I thought I knew my city, my community pretty well, and we'd been there for probably 13 or 14 years before I co-chaired the Centrader United Way campaign for 1 year. I learned for the first time that 1 out of 4 boys entering school for the first time in all of East End Montreal were unable to learn. They came from backgrounds where they simply couldn't sit down and start learning ABC in the school. And 1 out of 4, and that opened my eyes to parts of the city that I'd not seen in my very comfortable position at McGill, teaching very bright students, dealing with very, very enlightened, engaged people, etc. And I guess what it caused me to realize is that we must look into our community and look beyond our very comfortable routines and find the parts of our community that are in need and then address them. These are the heroes, the unsung heroes of our community. And so often they're the glue that hold families together, that hold neighborhoods together, that find those areas that are not as obvious, that those of us on our mainstream don't see. What do we do about it? Well, I think we applaud them whenever we can. We've here at Rideau Hall, with our responsibility for our merit-based honor system, have reinvigorated the Caring Canadian Award, started by Romeo LeBlanc over 20 years ago, to recognize the unsung heroes in the community, the people who will not be headlines in the newspaper, but they've been doing Meals on Wheels for 30 years faithfully. They've been watering the local rink for 25 years out there, and cold night after cold night, never asking anything more than the satisfaction of knowing more kids will skate on the next day.